What is going on, everyone? So is Ethereum Classic ETC, has it reached its peak, or is there still more room for it to continue to grow? Definitely stay tuned until the end to find out my thoughts. Definitely stay tuned until the end to hear my own thoughts, and let's just go ahead and look at the current market right now. So ETC, it is still withstanding its current position at rank 13. And right now, when I'm recording, it's at 135, basically 136, give or take. And the current market cap's at 15.6 bill with the volume, ridiculous volume of 45.5 billion. That's insane. Now, originally when I made the video just a few days ago, ETC was under, it was like 90, a few bucks. It was like $90, 92 bucks, ranked 18. Volume significantly lower, and literally each day since I've mentioned it, it seems like it's significantly gone up higher and higher. Now, do I think that's going to keep continuing? Well, we can take a look at it and check it out. But right now, let's go ahead and just look at the general market, because usually what happens is Bitcoin, or at least currently right now, there's the narrative where it's like ETH is going to flip Bitcoin. And basically Bitcoin used to control what happens if ETH, the price point, so if Bitcoin were to crash, ETH would typically go down as well. But now it seems like ETH has went on its own path and is pretty much doing its own thing at 3.5 plus, and Bitcoin is doing its own thing right here. So it seems like it's not impacted. And two, all of these big cryptocurrencies, even Doge, all these top ones, they've had all their money up already. They've gone up significantly, and people are going to usually take their profits and they want to push it into the rest of the other cryptocurrencies, typically mid cap to small cap market cap coins. And ETC seems to be one of those that, one, it has easy access, that it's on some major exchanges so people can go ahead and trade that. And two, its market cap, at least the past week, wasn't as high as it is currently today. And then also just the demand regarding ETC has increased significantly, right? And you can even see the other cryptocurrencies are up too, but ETC is significantly up higher than that. Now, just looking at the overall chart, and just remember this video is for entertainment purposes only. This is not financial advice. Be sure to do research before making any investments. But literally, when I was recording the first part of this week, I mean, we were pretty much sub 100. Like we never even broke 100. But Coinbase, their chart's a little different because on their markets, like if we were to click into it, and I'm gonna use Coinbase just for this video today because it actually has this really high price that it reached that I wanted to show you guys. But just note, like, other exchanges aren't necessarily the same. This is basically an average, right? So, for instance, Binance, they dominate pretty much 14% of the volume with 6.5 billion being traded, but their price is 134. Then you got Coinbase up here at 140, basically a few more dollars higher. Right now, this is not, crazy percent because it's like $5 out of this price, but just note that's still a completely different thing. So if you're in, for instance, Binance, and then you look at Coinbase and even the Korean exchanges like Bithumb, you can see the price is significantly higher, right? So if it hasn't even hit that yet, it could potentially match that price points. But again, you have to look at basically the volume being traded. So Binance definitely has more trades, so it's going to be different. But I thought that was just interesting because before I made a video, it was like most of the prices were sub 90, like 293, and Coinbase was up like 110 plus, right? So the massive gap is definitely something that you're gonna want to look into. But here it seems like they're fairly, almost the same. So there's nothing, I'd say, outliers, at least right now today. But just looking at this, right? We hit the first high. It's like what, let's just say 149, and sell off. And at this point, people might think, okay, it's over, it's crashing. But following this 50 MA line, we never broke even close to below the 50 MA. So green candlesticks again, buying back up. Boom, we hit this high point, 174. So within a matter of literally like 2 days or so, we've almost increased it by like 100%, right? Not exactly, but if you're depending on what price points you're looking at, pretty much, right? And at here, we had people take some profits, sell off, yet we weren't able to break below 50 MA yet. So we still are currently trending upwards. And now we are going a little bit sideways right now. We do have some candlesticks forming. So if this pattern were to continue, I mean, we could test the highs again and then break out again. Now, if this were to start forming even more red candlesticks and this sell volume right here were to significantly increase and more people start selling, then yes, we could finally see it continue breaking and then eventually break down the 50 MA, and then that would indicate our trend downward. But again, is that going to happen anytime soon? We would have to wait and see, because no one really knows where the top is. Like, no one knows where the top's at. At first, when it was up here, it was all just green, green, green. And I was like, okay, it's going to eventually sell off. And finally, it sells off. And at this point, we don't know where the buy volume comes in. Because even looking here, the sells right here are significantly higher. But then the buy volumes, we still have like almost equivalent buy to sell ratio. So it seems like a lot of people wanted to get back in ETC. And then the RSI right now, at least currently on the 1 hour chart, it's not, I'd say, the most overbought, at least in this range. Once it gets above basically to this like dotted line right here, hitting the 70, like in these areas, that's where I'd say it gets dangerous. But it just depends on what chart you're looking at too. Because if you're looking at the 1 hour, it's only, like a few days of time frame. But if you actually look into ETC and you actually like what they do, then it's going to look completely different on a different chart, right? So on the 1 day chart, it looks ridiculous. This chart doesn't even make sense. RSI is literally flying out of this, the price point right here, and it's just flying crazy, right? So in the next few months, if you think this is sustainable, I mean, there's no way you can know the top, but I don't think this is a sustainable chart to see this, right? I'd like to see us, one, correct eventually to make sure that healthy correction. But two, it's like this could continue for a little bit, or we could start to see a sell-off. Again, it depends on the chart you're looking at. 1 hour chart, I'd say, is much cleaner because you actually see some people taking profits selling. But on the 1 day chart, it's just going straight up. That's super, super risky place to play around with, because guess what? Where can it find supports? Basically nowhere. It just would just fall back until people decide to buy back in. At least here in the short term, I mean, we have some more candlesticks here. And then obviously we're trading sideways right now here. So if this is essentially the new level of our support we could form, then yes, that would be a good sign. But again, I'd like to see us first consolidate for a bit even more, just to get some more data and determine if we're actually continuing upwards again, or if this is going to start downtrending, right? Because to form new two highs that quickly, it's usually, somebody with a big sum of money decided to get in, and then everyone else gets in too. But there is also one thing I want to show you guys that some people might not even consider, right? So here, check this out. I brought up Google Trends, right? So in case you are unfamiliar, basically, it's what Google, you can go on Google Trends, anybody can do this, and just look up what churches are trending for, the day or the week, etc. And I mean, you can see here. So in case you have no idea how to read this, basically, the number, it goes up to pretty much 100, right? And for the most part, look at this. The whole year, ETC Classic basically was a ghost, doesn't exist. It's like 1 or 2, which literally means nobody cares anything about it. And then all of a sudden, price starts to increase. Okay, now we get to 37, 35, drops a little bit, boom, 50, and now guess what? Today or up these week, it's 100. It's maxed out, which basically means that the demand for ETC, even Ethereum, has definitely, both of them have ridiculously increased just in the past week. And guess what happens? What happens when the demand, the research, people talking about ETC, looking at ETC, wanting to know what it is? Well, guess what? The chart is going to correlate. So even just looking at the coin market, guys, easier to see. Just look at this, and this is only showing from I'll show you again. This is just showing from let's just go from May 2020, right? So here, let's go May 2020. It copies exactly to a T the Google Trends demand. So it's flat, no one cares about it. Little spike bumps right here, which again, those replicate those spike bumps right here, pretty much over there. And then boom, goes absolutely insane. Guess what? The demand on Google Trends goes insane. So this is something you definitely want to keep an eye on, because right now the demand is significantly high. You can see it on social media. But the minute this starts to drop down, starts to crash back, I'd say on the Google Trends search, that is when I'd say, in my own opinion, that's your sign to be very, very careful with ETC. Because the minute that happens, guess what? That's probably when people are gonna take massive profit and sell off, right? Like I could just go here and do the same thing with Dogecoin. Like look at this Dogecoin, right? And Doge will be in this red. Now look at Doge compared to ETC. Doge's literal charts is just absolutely bonkers right now. Like it's just insane compared to ETC's level. Doge trumps its SEO by like 10 to 9 pretty much, and you can see like it drops and then increases again. So it seems like they're both currently trending and right now. But the minute you would want to see something like this, like look at the beginning of the year, it gets to the high point and it just basically goes back down to zero. See, that's not a good sign, right? Now, are you able to, I'd say, predict that? Again, it's Google's algorithm, so I don't know how active it is or how quick it is. But just know if the volume, the demand starts to downtrend significantly on the search demand results, then guess what? That's not good for you. Now, this is only US, right? If you are global, you can change this to, worldwide. It will look different, but I'm assuming most people who are watching this probably are part of US, and then obviously the rest would be, outside. So I'll remove it here and I'll just do worldwide. And even with worldwide, it's still up 100 plus. So it's definitely correlating with the current chart and the price right now. So keep an eye on that. And in terms of the overall thoughts, price predictions, first off, I mean, it's good to see as we are continuing up the 50 MA still. I don't see any massive sells yet, so we could continue to trend upwards and potentially test this resistance level at the high. If that isn't the case, and then all of a sudden we see red candlesticks sell off, then that could be a potential first of us breaking downtrending. But at least right now, it seems like it's holding pretty strong. So we will have to wait and see in the next few weeks what goes on with ETC. But let me know your price predictions, your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.